30 winters in that workshop, not a single gear had spun. The old man sat like broken time, waiting on what wouldn't come. But on the night the stars stood still and silence wrapped the land, he lit a match, he pulled the cloth and reached out with his hand. The gears were rusted cold as bone, the pendulum was dry, but soon it swung and soon it hummed and soon it seemed to cry. He whispered to the ticking thing, "All right, then let's begin." And every hour since that night, the world's grown dark within. When the gears began, the wind forgot to blow. The moon looked down and wouldn't glow. Every tick took something small, a moment here, a memory's call. And mercy's clocks began to chime, but none could say it told the time. At first the town just shook it off, just dreams, just old man talk. But shadows stretched too long by noon, and crows refused to flock. The baker swore he missed a day, the sheriff lost a year, and no one knew just what was true when clocks rang in their ear. They say he died long years ago, the gravedigger confessed, but I saw him breathe just yesterday, his hands were inked and blessed. And in the bell tower's crooked grin, a ticking grin replied, "There ain't no future left to run, and time's already died." When the gears began, the dust began to climb up window panes and chapel spines. The days grew thin, the nights grew wide, and names went missing from the signs. Now every chime cuts deeper in, since time gave up and truth walked in. She was born with sawdust breath in a house where the floorboards whispered death. Her father carved and measured pine, but she carved names before their time. They say her hands were cold and still, like midnight's wind on a windowsill. And when she hummed a funeral tune, someone's shadow left the room. She don't speak and she don't plead, she shapes the box the dead will need. Before the coffin turns to red, she's already carved the soon-to-be dead. A prophet made of splintered pine, the grain, the blade, the crooked sign. The coffin builder's only child leaves death behind her, calm and wild. The sheriff scoffed and mocked her grace. They found him cold with a splintered face. A preacher blessed her trembling hand and dreamt of grace. stand. She stitched no cursors into wood. She simply knew what silence should. A whisper crawled across the grain, and every name became a stain. She don't curse and she don't warn. She smooths the edge and sands the form. The bell will toll, the dust will shift. She follows death just like a drift. A girl of ash, a blade so thin. The end begins once she walks in. The coffin builder's daughter stays where time unravels into graves. Her father once asked, will I be next? She smiled and swept the table clean. Don't fear the wood, she softly said. The worst part's what you haven't seen. She don't wait and she don't stray. She knows who's leaving by the day. With every lid she fits just right. The shadows lengthen out of sight. And when your name comes in the grain, she hums it once, then carves the pain. The coffin builder's daughter knows where every nail and soul must go.
They laid him down neath cotton sky, with coins upon each sightless side. A preacher spoke, the casket shut, but no one noticed the blood on the rust. The dirt was fresh, the grave was deep, but something wrong refused to sleep. The wind turned sharp, the church bell stalled, and from that day the dead man called. They buried the wrong body down, put the killer in a saint's white gown. Now the boots on the road ain't echoing right, and the candles burn black every night. He's knocking from under, he's knocking again, and no one remembers where it began. Widow swore she saw him stand down by the fence with mud-stained hands. The grave digger drinks and won't explain, but he don't walk home when it starts to rain. The mayor choked on his communion wine, found teeth where the sugar used to shine. No tombstone holds that name too long, it fades like breath at the end of a song. They buried the wrong body true, said a prayer that death couldn't chew. Now the dogs won't bark and the clocks don't chime, and the smoke don't rise from the hills in time. He's knocking from under, he's knocking again, and no one remembers where it began. Dig a hole 6 feet by 4, but if the name don't match, you just made a door. They buried the wrong body down, and now the grave's become the town. With every cough and every moan, you wonder There's a bend in the valley where the willows lean, and the river runs wide, but it don't run clean. Used to have a name carved deep in stone, but the letter's washed out, now it hums alone. No bridges left, just broken beams, and no echoes rise, not even in dreams. The folks who cross don't come back through, the river forgets like dead men do. The river that forgot its name carries sorrow just the same, washes the blood but not the blame, and drowns the ones who whisper shame. No map can mark its course or claim. The river that forgot its name. A preacher cursed it back in '03. Said it swallowed his boy and his memory. The sheriff cried there in the flood, where the law ran dry and the bank ran blood. Now the lanterns fade along its bend, and even ghosts forget their end. No baptism, no wedding bell, just water deep and sharp as hell. The river that forgot its name. Don't freeze, don't boil, don't rise with rain. It moves like breath you can't reclaim, and moans beneath the moon's cold flame. No marker stands, no soul lays claim to the river that forgot its name. Some say names give power, some say water takes it. Its name still drinks the stars and coughs up pain. It sings to those too tired to fight, and pulls their hearts out by the night. So if you find it, don't explain. The river that forgot its name. They found it standing by the trees. No rope was hung, no wind, no breeze. Just 13 nails and bleeding wood, where no one swore they ever stood. No plans were drawn, no hands were seen, but every board was sharp and clean. The sheriff said, "We ain't built that," then turned and wept in his own hat. 13 nails in a nameless frame, no scaffold known, no man to blame. The rope still swings, though the air is still, like time itself forgot its will. The gallows rise when justice fades, and hang the ones the dark has made. A preacher knelt and walked away, said mercy don't belong today. A child swore he saw a face float silent in that cursed place.
The gravedigger don't pass that trail, just shakes and drinks his moonshine pale. But once a week at quarter chime, a voice calls out the hanged one's crime. 13 nails and no last rites, no jury, judge, nor preacher's light. Just shadow wood and rusted chain, and blood that never speaks a name. The gallows know what man forgets, the debts time pays with no regrets. I never saw who hammered them in, but I've heard the nails, they scream like sin. 13 nails in sacred wood hold up the weight no truth withstood. Each one pounded in by fate to hang the guilt we fabricate. If you see it, turn around before your name becomes the sound. They buried him down by the whispering pines, with a Bible cracked and no headstone lines. The church rang once, then lost its bell, but he showed up with breathless yell. The congregation froze in place, his ash blew back across his face. No dirt could hold his sermon fire. He walked out clean from the funeral pyre. Preacher who never died rides the wind where the faithful hide. He don't eat and he don't sleep, but still he calls the curse to weep. You can't rebury what won't rest, and he preaches only to the blessed and the damned. They say he spoke in tongues of rain, where every word drew up old pain. The sheriff begged to close the doors, but found his boots nailed to the floor. The choir quit, the deacons ran, but pews still filled with hollowed man. And those who stayed can't quite recall what sermon rose or when it falls. Who never died left no soul he hadn't tried. He don't pass a plate, don't take no tithe, just stains your thoughts and names your lies. And if you dream of judgment day, he's the one who lied the way. Don't ask, he's already read your book and turned to the last. The preacher who never died stands at your door with eyes too wide. His voice don't echo, just invades like thunder lost in window shades. So fold your hands but don't ask why. The sermon ends when you reply. No record kept, no family line, She vanished right past county signs. The preacher blinked, the clerk misspoke, and no one saw the name she wrote. The mayor's books were clean and dry, yet still her ashes cloud the sky. Each fire lit tells part or tale, in drifting curves too thin to trail. Your name carved in smoke never stayed where memory broke. They burned the house, they razed the land, still smoke wrote what hearts of man. No tombstone cut, no ledger spoke, but I saw it, your name in smoke. She sang once in the chapel choir, but faded out behind the fire. No neighbors wept, no paper ran, yet every night the kindling sang. A child claimed her song at night was etched in flame beneath the light. And when they swore she'd never been, a matchstick rode her back again. Your name carved in smoke draws circles time can't revoke. She walked in dreams and whispered sin, then burned her way back in again. The wind forgets, but fire spoke. I saw it clear, your name in smoke. You can erase the ink, but not the flame. Your name carved in smoke rises where the silence broke. A name they feared, a name denied, now haunts the coals they set aside. She's gone in flesh, but not in flame. The fire still carves her missing name. There's a circle of stumps in Mercy's Grove, where the gospel rang and the faithful drove. But now the roots run deep with red, and hymns are sung by the newly dead. The tambourines don't shake no more, but thunder knocks on that forest floor. And every oak that touched the sky still leans like it forgot to die. Blood in the gospel grove, mixed with ash where no winds blow. Hallelujahs lost their tune, now they hum beneath the moon. She preached of grace, she walked alone, but grace won't bloom from blood and bone. They said a girl danced barefoot there till bullets found her mid-prayer. grove soaks the roots where truth once drove. No more sermons, just a drum, calling back what won't stay numb. And if you kneel, don't close your eyes. The amen man might just rise. The gallows stood with the rope still tied, but the judge was swaying side to side. No one touched the knot that day, but the wind blew through like it had something to say. His boots were gone, his gavel cracked, his verdicts burned in a paper stack. The sky was clear, the courthouse still, but justice rolled in with a killing chill. The wind that hung the judge don't care for law nor grudge. It don't need a noose or nail, just one deep breath to tip the scale. No hand was seen, no crime confessed, but the wind it passed and did the rest. The jury ran, the bailiff cried, the sheriff said the rope just tied, but every leaf and weather vane still point toward that hanging plane. His name was carved in courthouse stone, but now that name don't stand alone. The wind's been whispering names at night, and one of them might be spelled just right. The wind that hung the judge don't knock, don't plead, don't budge. It don't rise slow or slam down fast. It just chooses who won't last. A silent gust, a final test. It don't forgive, it don't arrest. They say the truth needs no rope, but sometimes the wind makes one anyway. Shame through sludge. It don't speak much, but when it does, it hums through trees with what once was. without a name. Iron rose from molten dreams, and ash became the stitch between. The blacksmith sang as steel took shape, each swing a mark the world can't scrape. The anvils rang through dusk and rain, but none recall what sparks remain. Ash remembers what time denies. Iron bends but never lies. Names may fade and graves may rot, but forged in fire is never forgot. Together we stand where silence clings, with ash and iron and what it brings. The preacher burned, the judge was swung, the clocks unwound, the final rung. But still this hammer hits the air, still ghosts keep forging something there. The widow hums, the gallows creaks, the river hums in broken peaks. But through it all the forge still glows, and every ember somehow knows. Ash remembers what time denies. Iron bends but never lies. Truth gets buried, names get sold, but fire etches what can't be told. We ride the sparks that darkness brings, with ash and iron and ghost-born wings. Past ain't past, the flame don't sleep. You forge your name and what you keep. Ash remembers what time denies. Iron bends but never lies. A voice, a nail, a spark, a song, still echoing after right and wrong. So brand the myth into the strange, with ash and iron and what still sings. They said the shaft had sealed itself. No man, no mule, no pick on shelf, just caving stone and rusted ore, and 50 souls behind that door. But last week smoke rose from the ground, and whispers clawed their way to town. The wind said names no one spoke twice, and left cold footprints on the ice. The mind that whispers back ain't closed, just painted black. You listen close, it speaks in coughs, like men who never shook the dust off. They ain't dead, just deep below, where daylight's scared and fire won't go. Zeke Blackwell's face was found last night,
pressed in the shale like fossil fright. No tools, no blood, no sign of fight, just a shadow moving left to right. The town hall clock's been losing ticks, the barroom door unbolts and sticks, and every miner's name still scrawled on walls the company never walled. The mind that whispers back don't want your prayers or plaques. It wants the names that slipped away. It wants the blood they didn't pay. A call for crack, a voice that burns. It calls for those who never returned. Back. Don't care who swings the axe. You sealed it once, it learned to wait. Now every breath rewrites your fate. So hush your boots and tip your hat. You might not leave once it whispers back. She keeps a book of debts unpaid, wrapped in cloth and shadow shade. No ink or quill, no pen or mark, but still each name glows soft and dark. They say she writes with whispered thought and seals each line in curses bought. But when the page is softly turned, another soul's been claimed by burn. The widow's ledger never lies. It don't forgive, it don't revise. She don't accuse, she don't explain. She just records what can't remain. And when you hear your final breath, you'll know she wrote your name in death. A banker wept in Mercy Square, said I paid my due, I said the prayer, but still he dropped, eyes wide with flame, as wind unwound his hidden shame. A drunkard found the book one dawn, but every page was cold and gone. He begged her blind, then dug his ditch. The dirt replied, you had your switch. The widow's ledger, don't forget, it just delays its final debt. You cheat or steal or curse the sky, you'll feel her ink behind your eyes. She never speaks, she never pleads, she writes in thoughts and ghost ink deeds. She uses smells like rust. It stains the soul, but not the dust. Nearly full. start to grin. You've already been written in. No judge, no jail, no gallows rope, just quiet vengeance carved in hope.
The chapel crumbled long ago, but still each night the bell will blow. No rope, no hands, no steeple left, just one deep chime and then the rest.
It calls for someone out of time, a name long lost, a crooked rhyme. And every soul who hears that sound feels their own heart skip a pound. A bell for the nameless ringing low, one chime to mark what none can know. You check the hour, you hold your breath, you wonder if it's calling death. You count the toll, but never see if it was meant for you or me.
The preacher swore it called his name, but he forgot from whence it came. The undertaker dug too deep, and now his dreams refuse to sleep.
A child said she heard her own spell backward on a weathered stone. And when the bell rang once again, she vanished in the falling rain. A bell for the nameless, cold and round. It echoes far beneath the ground. It tolls for those erased by years, for memory blurred by salt and tears, the ones whose graves were never found.
Just one more chime to bring them round. No inscription,
No decree,
just the tone.
and who it free. A bell for the nameless tolls tonight, one low breath through endless night. It doesn't ask, it doesn't wait, it just selects and opens fate.
So when you dream and hear it near, don't answer back, don't volunteer.